Welcome back, everyone, to the Bold Business Podcast. I am your host, Rachel Starr. In the virtual studio today, we have some fabulous bright lights, and I cannot wait to get in our conversation today about the Gemini Midheaven, which is the archetype of the influencer. We have so much we're going to talk about, a bunch of questions, a bunch of chat, laughs for days. We've already been laughing ahead of pressing record today. So we're going to have a good time, and we're excited that you are here with us. This is a great podcast for anyone who has a lot of Gemini energy in their chart. Also a great podcast if you are ready to explore and to build out your personal brand using your midheaven in astrology. If that is something that interests you, if you want to learn more about how to do that, what does that look like in real life? What does that feel like? We're going to get into all of the things, and you're going to hear from real people who really have the Gemini MC. So without further ado, let's get into it. So before we dive into this topic, I have to introduce my panelists, should we say, my partners in crime. We have Emily and Cherise in the house today, and I just am so thrilled that they said yes to this. This is my first podcast having more than one guest, and I just think this is perfect for Gemini season, which is also all about sharing and chatting and the exchange of ideas. So let me introduce you to each one of our guests today. First of all, Emily Carey. Welcome, Emily. So happy to have you here. So Emily is a corporate leader, coach, mentor, bold truth teller, and founder of The Quiet Refusal. You may have seen Emily as well in a previous episode where she talked about masks and the masks that we wear in corporate and how we can start to take them off. Very popular episode, so go and check that out as well, of course. The Quiet Refusal is a space for women who look like they're thriving, but are quietly disappearing inside their own success. Nearly 30 years in corporate, more burnouts than she'd like to count, human design, gene keys, and astrology became the practical tools that finally helped her understand why. Her work helps women break free from the hustle culture, not through a formula or a rebrand, but through honest, sustained inner work and grounded in how they're actually designed. She's finally stopped fighting her own design. So welcome, Emily. Excited to have you here. Yes. And fun fact, Emily and I used to work together in corporate. So we know each other from way back when. We've seen all the all the stuff behind the scenes. So we're gonna have a juicy combo. Okay, and then introduce you to Cherise, this is your first time on the Bold Business Podcast. Hopefully the first of many. Very excited to have you here as well.
Yes.
Yes. So Cherise White is an educator, project manager, aspiring international relocation specialist, and founder of LOA, Leave of Absence, a shared space helping people create intentional lives abroad through community, self-leadership, and shared knowledge. Yes. Love, as an expat, love this so much. A certified project manager with an eclectic background spanning higher education, ed tech, design, and travel, she has spent her career helping students, educators, and institutions navigate change with greater confidence and clarity. A lifelong traveler, curious learner, and student of personal and spiritual growth, Cherise is passionate about the intersection of career, purpose, travel, and conscious reinvention. Yes. Drawing from her own experience in education, advising project management, and international travel, she combines practical strategy with personal transformation. Through her work, she's exploring what becomes possible when we stop waiting for permission, yes, and begin intentionally designing lives that feel expansive, connected, and authentically our own. Yes. Okay. I love both of your bios so much. I love your businesses and what you're building and what you're designing. And we got to talk about how it is that you lead in the world, how you showcase your gifts and showcase your work. So we're going to get into all of that as we discuss the midheaven. Before we go into my questions that I have for you, for those who are newer to working with the midheaven, I'm going to give a really brief intro to what the Gemini midheaven is all about. So when you start working with your midheaven in astrology, your MC, that is when you're starting to bring out how you are of service to the world. It's not who you are behind the scenes, right? It's not who you are with your family. It's not who you are with your romantic partner. It's not any of that. It's really who you are publicly. So this is what people see. And sometimes it can actually be a blind spot for you. It can be a gift that you have that's so natural to you that like you don't even see it. But that's the magic and the magnetism of the midheaven, is that other people see it and other people want it. They crave this from you. And this is all happening, kind of subconsciously below the surface. So the more intentional that we can be about building our brand with our midheaven, the more we're tapping into the natural magnetism that we were born with. Gemini Midheaven is in my system of cosmic leadership archetypes, the archetype of the influencer. And that doesn't just mean someone who sells things like the way we think of an influencer nowadays, like get ready with me. It could mean that, absolutely. But it's more about persuasion and inspiration. Gemini Midheaven leaders are very inspiring to others. Their story that they tell, the things that they're curious about, the things they're obsessed with, whatever they're interested in, it tends to really inspire others to be interested too. And people want to know what their opinion is, what their perspective is. So in that way, Gemini Midheaven people are just naturally very influential. And I would say that's absolutely true from what I know from you two as well, but I can't wait to get your take on it. So the main themes when you're working with Gemini leadership energy, which is different from Gemini private energy, Gemini relationship energy, Gemini leadership energy is all about connection. It's all about intellect. Often people at Gemini MC come across as very well-read, smart. They really know their stuff and they're thoughtful, right? They're very thoughtful in the way that they go about what they do. It's also about ideas. And like I said earlier, of course, influence. So with that brief introduction to what Gemini Midheaven is all about, let's get to our guests. Okay, I know everyone's itching to talk to you guys. So do you want to go first, Emily?
Sure.
What are your big three in astrology and what is your human design, to give us an intro?
Yeah, so my big three. So I'm Pisces Sun, so I'm very, very deeply intuitive, and I'm not really built for that restless output, which is kind of an interesting thing because being in corporate for as long as I have, that's a lot of what that's about. So
Hmm.
that's an interesting dynamic to work with. And then
What
my
does,
moon is
wait,
Libra.
could you tell us more? What is restless output for those who may not know that terminology?
So restless output to me is that kind of that hustle culture. So
Ah,
always on, have to be really productive, have to
yeah.
be like always on, do the thing, work all the hours, like that.
That sounds
That's
like
why
my
I class
natural
that.
state, restless output. I was like, that sounds like me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I think for me, because I'm a 2/4 generator. So
Mhm.
if I'm doing that and I'm lit up by it, then
Yeah,
great. But if I'm doing it not, then that's a kind of that's burnout
definitely.
territory for me. So
Yes.
yeah, and then I'm in Libra moon. So that I really need to find that kind of harmony and balance. And what's interesting as I was sort of learning more about this is the part of me that can be uncomfortable with conflict. So I've worked with that quite a lot because that was quite an interesting thing to navigate that I didn't
Yes.
kind of realize as well. And then my rising is Virgo, so that's like the behind the scenes, like fix it, seeing patterns, that kind of looking at what's broken. I love doing that complex problem solving, like breaking things apart and putting them back together. And obviously, I'm a midheaven Gemini, but I remember Rachel when you first told me about this, I was like, "What? I'm the influencer, really?"
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I know. We'll get to your first impressions. I can't wait
Okay,
to hear more
yeah,
about that. Yeah. That's
yeah.
common.
And then I guess the last thing to say is, yeah, just I guess some of the things that I've noticed that tension between Virgo and Pisces
Mm,
has been quite, as well as me being a 2/4 generator, that's all kind of been instrumental into the times when I've been burnt out. So
mm,
it's been interesting to really unpack and get into some of that
yes.
and be more aware about how I, cannot catch it before it happens.
Definitely. Oh, I'm so glad you brought that in. Yeah, we're all absolutely with the nodes right now at the time we're recording, South Node in Virgo, North Node in Pisces. So we're all kind of collectively experiencing a lot of that tension that you were born with yeah, the sun in Pisces and then the rising in Virgo. Really, really great. Thank you for introducing yourself cosmically. Cherise, tell us about your big three and your human design.
Yeah, so my big three are an interesting bunch. I am an Aries sun, a Cancer moon, so those are already we're in polar opposite land. And I'm a Virgo rising. However, I would say that I'm right on the cusp, so I often lean towards Libra energy rather than really like Emily was saying, deep diving into, I want to break down all the connect. I don't want to break it down. I don't want to do all that. I see it, I get it, but
Yeah.
I don't really want to deep dive into the puzzle work of it all. So it's very interesting.
Yeah.
I'm also an MG and I am sacral authority
Mm.
and I am a 1-3.
Hmm.
Um, I
Just
don't know
like
what the term is.
Beyonce, 1-3 manifesting generator. Yeah.
There we go. There we go. Okay. That's what I'm trying to lean into that.
Hmm.
But yes, that I feel like there's been a lot of interesting pieces of that.
Mm.
And like something about my life that's always rang true is like having an Aries sun, like I always want to start an adventure. And
Mm.
then I'm a Cancer moon, so I want to create connections and relationships along the way. And then the Virgo part of me is like, oh, we should really have a plan though. And it's like, then it's like screw the plan, throw the plan out
Yeah.
the window.
Yeah.
Let's just make some relationships. Who cares? We don't know the language. We don't know when we're coming back. We don't know. Like, let's just go and figure it out on the way.
Yes, yes. That's something that I feel like you guys both have in common quite a bit, and me as well, which is why this is such a fun podcast for us, is that we all have our angles, in mutable signs. So we all have some version of like Virgo, Pisces, Sagittarius, Gemini, very strongly, very prominent in our chart because those are our four angles. And I've noticed that people like that, I immediately get along with really well because we automatically have these four anchors in our life that are all about change and flexibility. And we're very like adaptable to different situations. But like you were saying, Cherise, we love to like learn new things and travel and like explore. So there's kind of this sense of like, drop me anywhere, I
Yeah.
will not only survive, I will thrive, I will figure it out. And I think, yeah, we've all got that, which is really cool. So my next question to you guys is, what was your first reaction? So Emily, you started to mention, what is your first reaction when you found out that Gemini is your magnetic leadership energy and the influencer is the archetype? Like honest reaction.
Yeah. So when you first told me this, Rachel,
Yeah.
I was like, what the fuck are you on about? I was just like, this is not true, this is not right. It was like I felt this like big resistance towards it because
Mhm.
I felt like when you're an influencer, I felt like that carried a lot of baggage with it. You're like really in the
Mm.
spotlight, you're like out there performing, banging out content. I guess it's
Mhm.
so I was just like, what? I'm not like that at all because in terms of my relationship building,
Mm.
I've always done it quite quietly. So
Mhm.
I was just like, I don't get that.
Mm.
so,
Yeah.
so,
Yeah.
um, but then as I kind of leaned into it, I realized that actually it's not, it doesn't need to be a loud thing. It's like,
No.
it's that deep thing. And then I started reflecting back because I've been kind of in this space for so long and never really recognized it, which is
Mm.
another thing which we're going to get into. But as I traced back through my career and my life, I was like, oh yeah, I am an influencer. I
Very
was
much.
like, hell I
Yes.
am, yeah. But I didn't recognize it, and I didn't kind of it didn't resonate with me at all to start with.
Yeah,
So, but
yeah,
now
yeah.
I see it. Now I
Yeah.
see it.
Now we can see it. It's so interesting. Like, I think back to that just made me think about like when we first met, like my first impressions of you, absolutely like charismatic was one of the first things that came across. And because we were working on the same project together, and then we had a shopping day together. Do you remember this?
With the champagne.
With the champagne. It was the best. It was the best. And we like just met and we were having the time of our lives.
I have
But
a great video of that.
oh yes, 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 I do too. Yes, I love it. That goes way back. But immediate connection. You have bucketfuls of charisma and it's very I feel like you're very easy to connect to. And I would totally be someone who, I remember back to when I first met you, to like, if you said, oh, you've got to try this, I'd be like, I've got to try this.
Mm.
So you definitely, on even just as a stranger getting to meet you for the first time, I think, that's where the midheaven really comes across, right? It's like, you know nothing about this person, but you really see it. So yeah, interesting.
Yeah, fascinating.
And what about you, Cherise? What was your first kind of impression or reaction to this?
So first off, I want to say, like, when I come to Europe, we're gonna have to do another champagne little
Oh
lunch
yeah,
thing. I'm trying to
Yeah.
get in
yeah,
on that
yeah,
with y'all.
yeah. Come over
Okay.
here.
So I was like feeling a little left out there, like, okay, yeah, I need to get in on that. But I'm pretty sure verbatim when you told me that, I told you, I was like, I don't even have social media. So what are you talking about, influencer? Like, so
Yeah.
I do think I had to step back and think about it and to put it into view and realize what our definition of an influencer is today
Yes.
is not necessarily relevant to how I see myself or who I am as an individual, but to be influential is definitely a trait of mine. I am very influential in all spaces that I find myself in, and I like to contribute, and
Yes.
I'm going to do it whether you like it or not. So
Yes.
there are a lot of influential qualities about me.
Absolutely. Yeah. And same thing, like first time I met you through Constellation membership. Yeah. You also have buckets of charisma and you're so easy to talk to. And like you said, you're going to contribute and you're not afraid to contribute and to give your opinion and your perspective. And that's another amazing aspect of people with strong Gemini, especially in the midheaven, is like, we want to hear their perspective because it's always going to, kind of, illuminate something for us. So you have that in bucket loads as well. And I love that you can see this like through this kind of contemplation of immediately like no to like, okay, well, let me think about it. Like you can start to see some of these traits in yourself. And you're right. Like, I debated for a long time whether I should call this archetype the influencer because people do have a lot of like preconceptions of what that means,
Yeah.
right? We automatically may think like someone who's like showing off their Chanel bag or their whatever made by Mitchell makeup or something like that. We think of like a beauty influencer or someone who's kind of selling us something or someone who's sharing their whole life, and is kind of but that's not always the case. But like you said, it's really more about connection, sharing ideas, and communication, self-expression, and influence.
Yeah, and I think I just on that, Rachel, I
Yeah,
think as
go ahead.
well, it's interesting the connection with the word influence, isn't it? And as I guess as we get more into our inner deeper work, we then and become more aware, we're then like, well, actually it doesn't mean that at all. So it's just fascinating the initial reaction versus like when you step back, as you said, Cherise, and actually go, hang on a minute. And then you start seeing things differently from that awareness and stepping back. It's like
Yeah.
fascinating.
Yeah. And something that also really fascinates me is that this is the only archetype where I always get that reaction. None of the other archetypes do I ever get like a rejection reaction first. It's only Gemini. And I think that's also really fascinating. So, would you say, and part of that, just on that, part of that might be that usually the midheaven is a bit of a blind spot for people. Like they don't necessarily see it in themselves. We much more resonate usually with the rising sign or maybe the moon sign or the sun sign, but the midheaven is more outward, is more like what other people see. Now that you've kind of explored this, over like you and me and Emily have worked together for years, but like over time, can you see the influencer archetype in yourself, or do you think other people see it in you? Like, have you had conversations with others who kind of like, oh yeah, like I see you this way? I'm curious. Anyone can go first.
I would say that people have always, all my life, said that I'm like trying to convince them of something, and I'm like, that's you. I'm not trying to convince you of anything. I'm giving you information. And if you want to, how you digest that information is on you. Because I'm not going to be influenced by anybody. You know
Uh-huh.
what I'm saying? That's my outlook, is that you could talk for days. If I don't think what you're saying is right, I'm not
Mhm.
influenced.
Mhm.
So that is something that kind of like brought that together for me
Mm.
with the archetype, is that okay, maybe I am more influential than I realized, because it's just natural for me. And so when
Mhm.
people feel that pressure from me, it's not intentional.
Mhm.
It's just a skill set I have. It's just a power and energy that I have resonating inside of me, and it comes
Yes.
out in my words and my communication.
Definitely, definitely. Because not everyone has this. Like, not everyone has this kind of natural ability to get across their, their point of view, And also, just because I think you raised a good point there is that some people don't want to be influenced into what you're interested in. And those are just probably not, from a business perspective, those wouldn't be your people because they're
Mm-hmm.
not interested in what you're interested in. But your people are people who are going to be like, ooh, tell me more. Like, oh my God, like you always, you always have the tea, you always have the goods, like tell me more. Yeah. What about you, Emily? Have you noticed?
Yeah, I was just thinking about this as you were both talking. This is a really this has been a really interesting one for me actually, because the especially with my line two as well, this not being seen.
Yeah.
I've just, I'm just like, ferrying away, doing my thing,
Mhm.
like in my zone, and someone will like call me out for genius. I'm like, what the hell are you on about? I'm just like doing a standard thing. I don't know what you're talking about. So and also because I have an open throat as
Mhm.
well, that kind of that's been quite challenging for me, and especially my corporate role, because I've forced like the communication, expression, and speaking. And I'll
Yeah.
never forget, one of my managers, it was a few years back, said, "There's I when you talk, I listen." And I'll never
Ah,
forget, because I was like, "What does he mean?" He said, "Because you say what you need to say, and when you speak, you're saying it because there's a reason to speak." And I'll
yeah.
never forget him saying that. I still
Wow.
don't get it. But I wrote
Yeah.
it in my little book because I was
Yeah.
like, well, that's really fascinating. So I do now I'm like kind of aware of that. I do tend to just shut up unless I've got something valuable to say, actually,
Mm.
because otherwise I'm just not talking from a place of truth.
Yeah. And do you
That's the
find,
interesting thing.
no, that's really interesting. And also you highlighted such an interesting difference between you and Charisse as well, is that you do have the open throat and then Charisse has the defined throat center as well. So typically for those who are listening, who are newer to human design, open throat, yeah, will wait until they feel compelled to speak and it's not just on all the time, right? And then typically someone with a defined throat, they can be on all the time. They can kind of just, never stop, never stop talking. And that's me for sure. I have a defined throat. Um, on the kind of thinking about, your desire, I just want to play on that, Emily, like your desire to share. Do you find that you're more likely to share if it's something like you're really interested in, like something that you're really like excited, passionate about, which could also be your generatorness, but yeah.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, if it's if it's just really dull, like I'm not gonna feel lit up about sharing it. I just
Yeah.
won't say anything about it.
Yeah.
But if it's something that I'm really passionate about, and sometimes that can fall on deaf ears, because the other thing with the open throat is you can over talk.
Yes. Yes, that's true.
So, verbal diarrhea too much. Um, so yeah, that's if I'm lit up about something, yeah. And what I notice when I'm in the right spaces and in the right rooms and with the right people, it's
Mhm.
almost like magnet.
Yes.
When I'm got that energy, and when I'm lit up, and when I'm really passionate about something
Mhm.
and talking about it with what I feel is authority, people just like want to come talk to me. They like
Yeah.
gravitate to me, which
Yeah.
is which is a really fascinating thing that I wasn't really paying attention to
Yeah.
until a few years back.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, it's part of your natural magnetism. And that's part of why I wanted to create these archetypes is to help people understand how they're magnetic, because that's the beauty of it, is we're all different. Like people
Mhm.
who, are, it's very different. For example, like Gemini and a Scorpio midheaven. Scorpio midheaven, people might be more magnetized to the person because they're more secretive, or, they might be a keeper of secrets. And Gemini, really, we were talking about this, Cherise, is the opposite, right? Like, is not the secret keeper. Do you want to say more to that?
I think it's hilarious. Emily, I did want to just touch something quickly on what you were saying, with like choosing when to respond. My human design has that way to respond. Rachel, I don't know what part of the design that is, but
Yeah.
where
It's like, because we're not manifestors, right? Like pure
yeah.
manifestors are like just more initiating. And for us, we have to wait until we feel the passionate yes to, that's your sacral authority.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And I feel like I've learned as an adult over the years, like how to do that and
Mm,
wait to respond when it's right. But when I feel it, I'm going to always like lay down and be obedient to the sacral authority. And
nice.
whatever I need to say is what I need to say
Good.
in that moment.
Mhm.
So I do love that. And then also when we're talking about like when we speaking, so I don't want to say I'm not a secret keeper. I can keep a secret, right?
Yeah, sure, sure. Like
But
a personal secret. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. But I'm tip that people come to when they want to say something, but maybe they have a quieter spirit and they're not going to bring it up. And they're like, well, Cherise will stir the pot. Like the pot needs to be stirred. So let me take you to Cherise.
Yeah.
And if I'm like, okay, you're absolutely right. I'm
Yeah.
going to go up there and I'll put my head on the chopping block because
Yeah.
the pot needs to be stirred. And it
Yeah.
is what
You're
it
the
is.
nominee to deliver
Yes,
the message. Yeah. And that, I bet, can show up at work as well, not just in
all the
personal life.
time.
Yeah.
All the time. But at work, I'm a little less like, I'm like, let's be sure. Let's be sure.
Yeah.
Scale
You're
it
like,
back
let's
a
think
bit.
about the risks.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I need to evaluate this. Let me go into Virgo mode. Let me do some calculations.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting, Therese. Actually, now you've said that, because I'm the same at work. I'm not this kind of scaled back, but non-work, exactly the same. Just say it like it is. Don't give a shit.
Yeah.
Say whatever.
Yeah.
There we
Definitely.
go.
And
There we go. Same.
do you ever find yourself, like Emily, being like, I could use the word spokesperson, yeah, for people, like
Yeah,
Sharice is saying, like people have grievances or people are worried about something, you're the one who's gonna say it.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. 100%.
Mhm.
Similar. Yeah, yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah, I definitely see that for both of you. And I think that's definitely a Gemini leadership quality, because it's like it's the leader who will say something. It's not the leader who's going to keep things quiet or try to, just do things behind the scenes. It's the person who's gonna say something. Yeah. Um,
I also think it's giving firstborn daughter
yeah,
energy. So, that's just in alignment.
I agree. I would agree. Are we all the firstborn daughter here on the call?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've
Yep.
only got brothers.
Yeah, yeah, same. I
Me
only have brothers,
too.
and I'm the firstborn. Yeah. I love it. Love it. Okay. What about Gemini Midheaven blind spots? So sometimes these can show up. I definitely see more of the gifts usually, but sometimes the blind spots can show up as well. So sometimes that can look like overthinking, or from a business perspective, having some scattered ideas. So like, oh, a little bit of this, a little bit of this, a little bit of this. And there's nothing wrong with that, but it can go too far, right? So the overthinking, scattered, too many ideas. Do you guys relate to those kind of showing up sometimes at work? I'm loving the smiles.
I mean, 100%, and probably more, because
Yeah.
there's so yes, all of those,
Mm.
absolutely all of them, but also the getting bored. It's
Yeah, that
another one for
I should
me
add that to the
as
list.
well,
Yes.
like the getting bored. But
Mhm.
I've really dug into this. I mean, because my mind is like always trying to go off course, and I have to do a lot of things to manage that. But as I dug in and worked with that a bit more, I realized that actually that's part of how I'm operating.
Yeah.
So when I've been looking into my gene keys a bit more and that kind of stuff, and actually that's that's part of what I'm naturally meant to be. When it's a problem is when it gets in the way. So, you know, similar to you, Therese, I've taught myself over many years to just drop into my sacral to shut this up. It's like get really annoyed. So and scattered, yeah. I think I was watching a talk that you did the other day, Rachel, and you were talking about the scattered energy and unfocused. And actually, in this season at the moment, I've been really feeling like that. It's like, oh, over here, oh, over here, oh, over here. Oh, now maybe I'll do here. And I've really been feeling that kind of playing out as well. But what I've been leaning into with that is just, you know, because I look and I'm always kind of taking information in everywhere. I'm quite open in my design. I've only got 3 defined centers, but then just making sure, checking in with my body and my sacral around, well, what actually is mine that I want to build versus these, you know, things I'm taking in that I'm like, well, that's a great idea. Let's have a look at that. Let's have a look at that. So that's that's what I'm trying to do with that, because it can be you can end up in analysis paralysis, procrastinating, not actually doing anything at all, which is not where I want to be. So, you know, I have to do quite a lot of work with that.
It's like something you have to keep an eye on. I find that like the things that are blind spots are often, they're just a flip of our strengths. So like, you know, you and I have the previous colleague in common and friend, Julie Fideli, who was also on the podcast. She talks about the portfolio career, right? And the idea of having multiple streams of income. So I think people like you guys who have that strong Gemini instincts and leadership and talents are like very primed for, you know, a career or a business where you do lots of different things and where, you know, you could have multiple businesses, multiple streams of income, et cetera, too. So it's like, yes, there's the negative side, you know, the thing you have to watch out for of being too scattered, but then there's also the opportunity too. Do you see that for yourself too, Cherise?
Yes, and shameless plug, the portfolio career is a great episode. I love that episode. I've listened to it multiple times. So that is a fantastic episode. If you haven't heard it, go listen.
Thank you.
And you're welcome. Totally agree with everything Emily was just saying. I also am neurodivergent. So like having ADHD, just sends me right into those spirals. I'm always overthinking things. However, like I have learned to listen to my sacral, and I've learned to really be able to be aware of when I'm overstimulated, because that's typically when I'm spiraling. It's just too much information. I dug too deep. I've gone over the edge, or it's just too much information is coming at me for whatever reason. And if that means that I need to plug into a sound bath, if that means I need to turn on my video game and play and binge some Zelda, whatever that looks like for me to shut this brain off, give it something else creative to do. If I need to paint, if I need to, whatever that looks like, I just allow myself to have that external experience to reshift, to refocus. I forgive myself. I don't shame myself for like needing that time away, even when it feels like maybe it's a crunch time or there's just so much going on. That's why I'm overstimulated. I always give myself that space now. I don't care. I don't care what that looks like. I got my bio to you and everything last night, like, because I was like, I don't have mental space to do this, but I'm definitely going to do it. It's just not going to happen right now. I need to have some wine, and I need to play my game for a little bit and space out, and that's okay. So I think it's about balance. And I think Emily said it well. It's about like understanding that these, what could be looked at as like negatives, are actually just parts of us. And the more we learn to embrace them and learn how to work with them, the more we'll be utilizing those skills, because they are our superpowers.
Definitely. Couldn't have said it better myself. Absolutely. Those become our superpowers. Oh,
and Cherise, that's a really important point actually that you made, and I love that, about taking a step back and not trying to push on through it, especially with that sacral energy, because that's where we can end up like in that burnout. So just taking a pause and going and doing whatever it is, like grounding, tree hugging, I don't know, playing the game, whatever it happens to be, but actually taking that step back and doing that so you can come back to it later, because we don't need to push through. There's nothing, it's not an emergency. We can take the time and step back and come back to it later, can't we?
Oh, that's so
100%. And if corporate thinks it's an emergency and my sacral doesn't, my sacral wins. And we'll deal with the consequences later. Next.
Oh, yes.
That's the quote of this episode. Yes, yes. I absolutely agree. Now, you both have another shared part of your chart that I want to ask you about, and that is your Virgo rising. And I know in your intro, Cherise, you said that you feel very connected to the Libra in your first house, but there's still in the Placidus system, you've got that Virgo rising. I have a hypothesis of what happens when you have this Virgo rising and Gemini midheaven combination. First of all, I will say it, I do think that there is a geniusness that happens with these people. Like several of my very, very close friends, including Emily and my best friend, like have this combo. My son has this. I think there's like this genius element that happens, which is really interesting. But also, I do see sometimes a real like self-criticism or a perfectionism that can come through. And I wonder if that might, well, first of all, do you agree? And then secondly, if you do you think that has anything to do with the kind of this resistance of the influencer-ness of it, of like being on social media or having more of a, being more open about your opinions and things like that? Do you think that Virgo rising can kind of come in like that voice in your head that says, no, you're not good enough, you don't know what you're talking about? What do you think about that, both of you guys?
Therese, you go first on this one.
Sure. My initial thoughts are like, it's hard for me to connect that resistance, if you will, to Virgo energy. I can definitely see where you're going with that, but I am not a perfectionist. That is where it's like, for me, it's a little bit conflicting. When I am into something, like I have a background in design, I went to school for design. I literally, if my entire room, I design things for people. I design spaces, events, things like that.
Yeah.
When it comes to that, I'm gonna be a perfectionist because this is the design. Do I know how to be flexible? Yes, but I'm creative, and so it taps into a space where I'm like, it needs to be done the right way. In education, that's why I work really well in education, because everything has its place. If you don't know what you're talking about, you can't teach this. You can't talk about that. This is for people who knows what they're saying. So there are some spaces where I see that, but it's never like directed towards me. I don't think that I need to be perfect. I'm the last person that's going to criticize myself if someone else is like, Cherise, you're not doing that right. I'm like, well, right is right. Up, down, left, right. Next, like I don't criticize, but I do feel resistance to social media because it is a place where people are often trapped in perfectionism. They're often locked in those realms. And I personally have never had a desire to put myself out there for the judgment of that, because I don't care. And so there's like I can definitely see where they play a part. I never self-direct that perfectionism.
You know what I think, as you were, thank you for sharing that, by the way, but I think that a lot of what's coming through there is your very strong Aries. You've got your sun, your North Node, and your Jupiter all in Aries. And Aries is like such a great antidote to some of this like Virgo criticalness that can happen. Aries is like, oh, but I don't care about your opinion. Like Aries is like, I'm going to make the rules myself. I don't need to follow any rules. And so I can definitely see where maybe some of that influence is counteracting the Virgo in your chart.
For sure. I think you're absolutely on point. And then also I think my Cancer moon allows me to say, and you're so right, I nurture that for myself. That's right, Cherise, you're right. You give yourself that space. You don't ever criticize who you are. So I agree with you. I think there's a lot of counterbalance to that.
Yeah, yeah, it's so interesting. What about you, Emily? Do you ever get some of that pressure from the Virgo rising around how you share or how your Gemini-ness shows up?
Yeah, that's interesting because I'm naturally quite creative, but I I muted it when I ended up going into corporate. So there was a very long period of time actually where I was hypercritical, self-critical, perfectionism. Um, and I'm not now because I've worked on that. But
Mhm.
again, that's coming in from all the external things being in corporate, because in corporate you're taught or forced to, you have to have, be polished, you have to have the polished decks, you have to have, so it's kind of feeding that. But like I say, I don't feel that now, but I did for many years. But
Mm.
now I recognize that actually that wasn't, I was being muted
Yeah.
pretty much
Yeah.
for a large part of my life. So
Mhm.
now I'm like unmuted,
Yes.
completely unmuted,
Yeah.
probably more balanced on the other side. But I do also agree with you, Charisse. I've always had this social media resistance thing. I've always found it quite ick.
Mm.
It's not really my bag
Mhm.
at all. I find it quite fake. It makes me feel quite exhausted if I had to keep up with that. I just
Mhm.
don't, like you, I don't really give a shit enough to be doing that. So I'm just like, that's how I feel about it. So similar to
Yeah.
you on that one.
Yeah, this is just so fascinating to me, like the the natural, persuasive, influential salesmanship that you guys both have, but also the resistance to mass kind of those mass platforms. So, can we say more about that? Like how do you see, or how would you like to see your influence used in your career? Like thinking into the future, your career, your work, how do you see your influence kind of, or your influencer-ness coming out and shining more?
Go ahead, Emily.
Okay. Yeah. So this is a question that I have been thinking about for quite a while. So for me, it's deep connections, going deep. So I need to make sure that I'm in the right spaces to be able to have those connections with the people that are going to get my vibe.
Mm-hmm.
And as I mentioned, I'm really intuitive, so I can literally meet someone and go, boom, yes, no, you're not for me. Well,
Yeah.
you're just not my vibe straight away.
Yeah.
So in corporate life, and I've written a piece about this. It's like this. It's the balance of having strategic and tactical relationships, because in corporate you're going to have relationships that you'll need to have that you wouldn't necessarily have, and they need less energy.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas the ones where the energy is going to make something happen, that's the ones that I would focus on. And actually what I've got better at is, if that relationship isn't for me, then I'll refer them to somebody else, because we're
Mm-hmm.
never going to get that connection,
Yeah.
that trusted connection. And it's the same, like, I guess it's the same in the non-corporate side as well, for my business as well. It's those, I have to get those deep connections. And I feel that's why I don't like some of the social media platforms, because I don't feel I can get that. There
Yeah.
are some that are different, but for me, it's about going into those communities, those private communities where I can get that,
Mm-hmm.
or those social media platforms where I can get that, like Substack. I love Substack.
Yeah.
So,
I love Substack too. I really feel like it's such an amazing platform. Yeah. Hmm. So your way of looking at using your influence is making sure that there's a depth in the connections to the right people so that you can
yes,
influence the right people with
yes,
your gifts. Yeah. And I definitely hear your 2-4 in there as well, for sure, because the fourth line, as we know, often doesn't love social media, but really enjoys those deeper, closer, intimate connections because they want to only work with people who are the right people for them. So I definitely hear that in your answer as well. Yeah. What about you, Cherise?
Interesting, because I'm a 1-3, but I can totally relate to what Emily is
Yeah.
saying.
Yeah.
Um, my professional experience and many of my personal relationships have often started or been focused around advising, coaching in whatever realm and industry I'm in, whether it's financial, education wise, career, what are the that I can advise people on a lot of things. That's what people come to me for. And so being a 1-3, I have always resonated with like smaller groups because I get that one-on-one, that individual touch, that building something together
Mm-hmm.
and then maybe expanding. So I definitely want to influence people who are aligned in a way that their goals, their desires. So with LOA, wanting to live abroad, but maybe not knowing how to take the next steps and make that situation a reality,
Mm-hmm.
is to help you get a game plan, help you see how that can be real for you,
Mm-hmm.
help you, whatever that ingestion looks like. I know that I can help you get to where you can accept that and move forward. And like Emily said, then building out connections for you to be connected to the right people to say, okay, well, this is the next physical step I need to take. This is the next piece of paperwork I need to fill out. Because I don't want to, I don't want to move beyond where my expertise is. I'm not a lawyer. I can't help you with international law, and I'm not going to pretend to. But
Yeah.
can I find a good one? Can we build a connection? Can I help you get to the right person? Of course, I can definitely do that for you. I can help you with that. So definitely building significant relationships where I know I have an expertise, which is helping people realize things for themselves, bring to fruition things that they want,
Mm-hmm.
find the connection that they were missing. They want to go abroad. They don't know where they want to be, but they want this out of it. Let's find the connection.
Mm-hmm.
So really just enhancing that, focusing on those things and allowing people to see that within themselves, what has been difficult for them to find.
Amazing, amazing. I love how you brought that other side of like Gemini-ness in that's about making connections. I think this is something that you both are so talented in that I would really love to learn from you about is the networking and the connections. Because, it's like I just think it's such a talent and it's a major key to expanding a business, to success, to finding the right people, to finding the right collaborators. And you're both very, very good at that. And I love how you've woven that into your business strategy. Like, especially for you, Cherise, this is an essential part of your business strategy. It kind of is your business, is you making connections. And then Emily as well, like you're, speaking to these groups and connecting with people, and you're just teaching other people how to sell in their way, how to connect in their way. Like you're giving us the gems, it's like, this is so great. What's, so for a kind of closing questions, perhaps, if you think ahead into like the next 1 to 3 years, of you expanding your skills, your business, your leadership, your influence, what is a way that you want to challenge yourself more? Maybe it's, I don't know, writing a book, doing a podcast, speaking, is there a platform or a way that you want to stretch that Gemini influencer skill more in the next few years? Emily, do you want to go
Yeah, I can go first.
next?
Yes, definitely. And so for me, it's about using my voice in the right places.
Mm,
So I met a lady the other day, we just kind of connected and we were just having a chat. She's like an energy healer type.
hmm.
And I was just telling her my backstory,
Oh, wow.
and I'd never met her before. It was just on the Zoom, and she was like, "You need to start doing podcasts." She was like,
I've been saying
which
this.
is what you said.
Yes.
She was like, "You have so many things that you need to tell women that
Yes.
you've been
Yes.
there, lived it, done
Yes.
it." She was like, "You need to start podcasts. When are you going to start one?"
Yeah.
And you've said that as well.
Yeah.
And
Absolutely. And
there's
you're super
definitely something in
successful in
that.
your field and you have so much experience in these, different, huge organizations and also advising organizations and government, all these things. Like I would much rather listen to your podcast than, you know, some guy with a mic somewhere talking about how a glass of wine ruined his week. Like, I'm not interested. Like, I need Emily's podcast.
Yeah, so it's that is something. I don't know when that's going to happen, but I do, because I've said this to you before, Rachel. I feel like and this started about 8 years ago. I feel like I'm here to get my message out to help others
Yeah.
with the challenges I've been through, so that other women don't have to go through them, or are more aware of them so they can manage them. And I'm really passionate about that. So there needs to be a platform for that. I can't just, you know, like sit in my cave hermiting. Okay, you know, this is having a chat with a few people. That's
Yes.
not going to be, you know, that's not going to get it out there. And I will, obviously, I do help women, but not, it's not going to get it out enough. So I do feel my sacral's like buzzing a little bit here. I do feel like there's something in that.
Yeah.
Don't know when though.
Love it. Love it. Next 1 to 3 years. Let's see it. We'll have you back.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. Wonderful. And Cherise, what about you? How do you want to like stretch yourself more in the next few kind of years?
Well, first off, Emily, we're going to put that into fruition. You're going to have that podcast, okay?
Yes.
I'll be happy
Yeah.
to be a guest on your podcast.
You
You can
too.
practice
Yes.
with anybody. I'll
Yes,
come
I'll
through.
be there.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Literally the Gemini energy was there when you listed off all things. It was like, well, I plan to do all of them. I plan to write a book. I plan to have a podcast. I plan to be on social media.
Yeah.
Sure. I need to start? I need to start some of those things. I definitely can say that I've been more proactive this year than I ever have in the past. Like,
Yes. Oh, you've been
really
building.
getting,
Yeah. Mhm.
getting those ideas off paper, building. So I feel like the next things for me will be launching my website, launching a Substack, and really, I do want to launch a podcast. I definitely do, and I do see a book in my future. I would definitely say I could do that within 3 years, but you know, I'm also the overcommitter myself. So we'll see how that comes. But I definitely think there's a space for LOA. There's a real need for it, and especially right now, just being in the U.S. and all the undertones. People are ready to move. People are ready to
move. They are moving.
Yes.
I have so many friends that are, have already moved or thinking about it. Yep.
So I definitely think there's a space for LOA and there's a need for it. So I want to be there to support those who need it. So I'm going to get out there. I'm getting it all done.
Yes, yes. And on that note, tell us how people can connect with you. Find out about leave of absence, LOA, get involved. Do you want to go first, Cherise? Where can they find you?
Sure. You can't find me right now because, like I said, I don't really like social media like that. But I am going to get a form going here that'll be linked in the show notes for you guys to get signed up if you want the next steps, all of the information and insights on what's happening for LOA. And I do plan to have things getting launched here in the next month or so. So there will be a place for you to find me and the resource will be available for you. Yeah. I'll be looking for you.
I love it. I love it. Yeah. So anyone who is interested in moving abroad, finding community, wants to do it the right way and not waste their time and find the right place for them and their family, like make sure that you're on this list. We'll put everything in the show notes so you can connect with Cherise. She is the connector. You want to connect with the connector. Yes. She's got all the hookup for you. And then Emily, what do you have coming up and how can people stay in touch with you and your work?
Yeah, and I'm definitely coming on your podcast as well, Cherise, when you start that.
Please do.
Same.
It's the new trio. Yeah, exactly. So the best way to find me is on my Substack. It's called The Quiet Refusal, and that's where I write, think out loud, tell truths. It's a really unpolished version of my life, which is great because
refreshing.
It's refreshing, yeah. So join me there. Love to connect as well.
Nice. And you've got some events coming up as well. So everyone stay tuned, especially if you're a woman who wants to, develop her career, her business to suit her without burnout, right? Love it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So good. Okay, so with that, we'll conclude our conversation. You guys have been amazing. I've absolutely loved having us have our triumvirate here, having you two as guests. Thank you for being here and for giving your perspectives. I just think it's so valuable to actually hear from real people who are really living, their charts. What is it like to lead the way you lead? What is it like to be magnetic the way that you are? So thank you for coming and sharing your heart with us and your time and your insight. I appreciate it. Brilliant. All right,
Thank you so
everyone.
much.
So we'll see you. Yes, and we'll see you next time on the Bold Business Podcast. Stay tuned for coming episodes. We're going to be talking about all of the archetypes. Cancer season is just around the corner, so we're going to get into the Gatherer archetype soon as well. And yeah, if you want to learn more, make sure you go to the show notes. All the links will be there, and you can get deeper into this work and discover your own archetype.